Good evening, everyone. My name is Justice Riggs. I am a junior accounting major here at Xavier. And before bringing the speaker to the stage, I wanted to give you a bit of background information on her. So Ms. Giselle Bailey is a senior national inclusion specialist within the Evolving Workforce Strategy and Innovations Group at Deloitte. She is responsible for providing strategic solutions, cultivate an inclusive pipeline of talent. Giselle helps drive inclusion acquisition strategies by managing external relationships and developing inclusion pipeline programs. Prior to Deloitte, Giselle spent over 6 years in sales management and multicultural marketing for a consumer goods organization. There, she encountered firsthand the business imperative of an organization reflecting its customer base by having a diverse workforce. Furthermore, she recognized the role of promoting an inclusive culture and improving employee retention and productivity. Committed to making a difference, Giselle shifted her career path internally to join the Integrated Diversity Talent Management team. Since then, Giselle has served as a career and market development manager for Education Corporation of America and the University Relations and Outreach lead for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana. Giselle holds a BS in Business Administration, Sales and Marketing from Xavier University of Louisiana and is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She has also served on the University of Cincinnati Lender Career Services Employer Advisory Board, is a current member of the Zula Advisory Council, and has been a featured speaker for the University of Cincinnati's 10th Annual Equity and Inclusion Conference and the 2019 XXSW Conference. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Giselle Bailey to the stage.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Good, we all right? Everyone looks so nice today. So first, I just wanted to start out by thanking Dr. Ricks who invited me here today. Just so you know, I would have been here anyway, just because I am that passionate about my division of business, about Xavier. Some of you don't know, who know me might not even know, I'm third generation Xavier alum for my family. So start out with my dear grandmothers who both attended Xavier. Add in my mother and father who are graduates, and mix in some aunts, uncles, cousins, my sister, my brother. I can go down the list, but out of that group, I'm the second to graduate from the Division of Business, so very proud of that, and also feel like I have a torch to carry within my family to represent for business, where some of them went other routes. So very honored to be here, kind of a long-winded thank you, but thank you so much for having me. And so I really took some time to try to think about what I was going to say to you guys today, and was going to put together a full presentation and decided to kind of scrap that last minute. I'm not a person that has your kind of long Rolodex memory of inspirational quotes or, inspirational things to say, but I will say there was a day a couple weeks ago, and this came after I found out I was coming here, where I was listening to a podcast, and I heard the speaker on the podcast, and this was Oprah's podcast, she had a guest, and the guest said, "You can never be on the wrong path." And I remember when I first heard that, I was like, okay, pause. You probably can go down the wrong path at some point in your life, right? But I think what really stood out and really why it stuck with me, because it bothered me at first. I'm like, what do you mean I can't go down the wrong path? I think I'm capable of doing that. Maybe I can correct course. But I think what she was saying is that your life is already divinely ordered. And regardless of what you're going through, whether it feels positive or negative at that moment, it's meant to happen for you in that way at that time to get you to where you need to go. And so when I thought about just my career path and the things that I've been through, that couldn't be more true. And not too long after that, scrolling down my Instagram feed, and saw another post similar to that, and it said, "The roadblock in the road is your path." So it's not a block at all, right? So basically, that boulder that you see in the middle of the road was put there not to stop you, but you have to just go over it, right? That's your path. So all those things stuck with me, and so I really kind of wanted to share my journey today in hopes that, you don't remember anything else I say, just know that, your journey, your career may not be what's on that side of the chart, that linear line to the top, right? So I don't know if there are any other adults or professionals in the room who might agree. I don't know. Some of you might have had that linear path. I know I have some friends who have gone into other fields where their life is kind of laid out and their path is defined. But I know for many of us, even in the business route, it's not necessarily that way. So I just want to share a little bit of my journey, and then I will go sit down and let you guys enjoy the rest of your dinner. But so I graduated in 2008, so I started back in 2004 in your shoes and not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life. And I don't remember the department name at the time. It wasn't Career Services who did it, but it was another department where you could go take some sort of assessment test to figure out, what it is that you want to major in, because I had no clue. It was between English or art, which I was very interested in, but I just really didn't know what else was out there. I knew I didn't want to go the medical route. I knew I didn't want to do what my parents did. They went into law. I knew that wasn't for me. So I went and took this test and came back, and all the results said, between social work to teaching, which I still think probably could have been great career paths for me, thinking about my personality and just my journey. But business showed up on that list too. So my mom made that decision for me and said business. And then from there, I kind of chose my area, which was sales and marketing. Now, I chose that because when I was sitting in your shoes, I just knew I was going to be a marketing executive somewhere. You couldn't tell me otherwise. I was going to be big time in New York, making ads, commercials, and all the fun things that I thought marketing was. And I remember my advisor at the time was Dr. Ricks, and going into his office one day to kind of talk about internships and things and what I wanted to do, and he was like, you're going into sales. I remember I was like, what? No, I'm not. What are you talking about? Like, no. He told me back then, and he asked me if I would sign up for the sales competition. Honestly, I wanted to pad my resume, so I said yes, just to have some experience on there, and I did it. The first time I went through, I didn't win the overall, but I did win the pressure round number one in that competition, so it felt good. Went back the next year, ended up taking home the full thing, and realized, like, okay, so maybe I can do this. So quick side note, I do want you guys to know that how blessed you are to have people here and to be in this environment at Xavier where the division is small enough where they can still get to know you personally and individually and help pull out things in you that you may not even know in yourself. Because I did not even know that was a skill that I had. And if he had not asked me to do that, I probably would have never known that I could do that. I never thought I could be a salesperson. So fast forward a little bit, and it rolls around to my junior year, and it's time for me to find an internship. So I know nowadays things start very early. I mean, they have internships now starting at your freshman year, but back then, you didn't start really looking for a corporate internship until your junior year. So it's the fall semester. We're all just getting back. I'm getting ready. I think my resume is up to par. I thought I was good to go for an interview. And so we started interviewing for a coveted sales internship for a company whose name I think is still down in the division. And every sales and marketing major wanted that internship. But I remember going into the interview and I probably blacked out. God, I don't know what I said. I don't know what I did. I just know I got through the interview. I was shaking and everything else. And something told me I didn't get it, but I kind of held on to hope a little bit. And I remember going to see Dr. Ricks afterwards. I was like, okay, have you heard from them? Do you think I did okay? And he kind of shot it to me straight that, well, no, you're in their top 3, but you're number 3. So unless the other 2 decline, it probably won't be that. And there were a few other things I had gone after that semester that just weren't really working out for me. And I could have taken that as that roadblock, right? I could have taken that and gotten discouraged, but I didn't. And might have been because I had student loans and I knew I was on a 4-year clock to get out of here. I don't know, that might have played something to do with it, but I was really driven after that I knew, okay, I need to get this together, and I know that I need to get an internship. I knew I needed to get my grades up. I knew that was a big part of it too, and I worked my tail off that semester. I lived in career services, so shout out to career services because I think you guys need to know how important the service that they offer is. I can't even tell you how many mock interviews from that point I did, and making sure everything was up to par so that going into my spring semester, when that career fair rolled around, I felt ready. At that time, I was still kind of looking at some of your big name companies again, and still had this idea in my head of who I wanted to work for and where I was going to go. And I remember getting an email from Miller Brewing Company and literally scoffed at my computer when I saw it, like, beer, like Miller Brewing, like the beer. And I'm like, I'm not going to go sell beer. Like, what kind of internship is that? But they reached out to me, and I remained open. And I remember they asked me to stop by the career fair booth, so I went by and gave them my spiel. You guys know your elevator speech. Hi, I'm Giselle Risana, junior sales and marketing major. You know that spiel, right? Hopefully you all have one. And they called me back for an interview along with a few other companies, but they were the first to give me an offer. And I remember, again, just trying to keep an open mind that this didn't sound like the type of job I was going to do, but I did it. And it had to be literally the best thing I could have ever done. So when I talk about your path is ordered, I was not meant to have those other opportunities. When I took this job, it transformed me in a lot of ways, and I learned a lot from that experience. I worked really hard. I ended up getting a full-time offer going into my senior year, so I kind of got to kick back, still kept my grades up, but I knew I had a job. So fast forward a little bit more, I'm starting now full-time with them, and my job offer was for New Orleans, so I signed a lease for an apartment, and I'm expected to stay here. Come to find out, the company was merging. I found out on my second day after I'd already signed a lease, and they told me that I needed to move to Memphis or I would not have a job. So, alrighty, so I'm now in Memphis, looking for a new apartment. When I'm already stuck to another one in New Orleans, I was able to kind of ask for some living assistance that they were able to help me with, because I essentially now had 2 places that I couldn't get out of. Fast forward to 3 months into it, I was then told that I was being let go. And I will never forget, it was on a Wednesday, and I'm getting a call from my manager who was giving me a heads up that by Friday, I'd have to turn in my company. At the time, I had a company car. I didn't have a personal car at all. I had a company car, had a credit card. I would need to finish my expenses, turn in my laptop and car by Friday, and essentially walk home, because I didn't know anybody in Memphis. So imagine getting that call. I'm 22 in a new city with my new job, and imagine all the things running through my mind of all the other opportunities I walked away from to take this, and why did I take this job out of all the jobs, and all these things that were just running through my mind. So again, another kind of roadblock on my path. I turned in my car, found somebody that I work with who was gracious enough to come meet me at Enterprise, dropping off the car and take me back to my apartment. Spent that weekend, I don't know doing what, probably sitting on my floor depressed, who knows. But by that Monday, I ended up getting another call back, and it was from my manager, and he said, I just want you to know, we haven't been working together long, but your reputation has preceded you, and we are going to create a position, and the distributor is going to hire you under our title, and we're going to pay them to pay your salary. Y'all. Talk about falling face flat on the floor when I got that call. And so another thing, just a nugget to take away from that, is your reputation, your work ethic. Even though they hadn't worked with me that long, I really hadn't gotten started. I was just moving to the city. But because they knew who I was and they saw my potential and they knew the work I had put in through my internships and networking and everything else, they took that chance on me. And that distributor refused to work with anyone else unless they hired me. So it was amazing. It was amazing. And I also found out later that I was getting a severance package plus starting this new job. So again, divine order sometimes. There were things that happened in my personal life at that time where the extra money came in handy. So you never know. So fast forward a few years later, I'm in this role now, and the role actually had some marketing components built into it, which was amazing. So I was also a multicultural market manager. Who knew? I ended up working in marketing after all, right? And so I got to do that. From there, I was offered another opportunity when Miller Coors finally did open up a new position to go back into a chain sales executive role, which again at the time was a coveted position. Being a sales and marketing major, looking at some of my friends, I'm now back at that title, right? And at some point at that salary that I thought I should have been at that point. And you would think everything was lovely and great. I mean, I'm moving along, I'm getting promoted, But then I also hit a personal roadblock where I felt like I wasn't happy and I wanted to do something that really fulfilled me. Also doing multicultural work, you start to notice some things that you might not have noticed otherwise. And there's oftentimes I'm the only person of color in the room. I'm the only woman. I'm the youngest. I'm noticing things with their marketing plans, with their strategies that I'm like, gosh, if we just had more people at this table who looked like me or who understood. So I got to a point to where I genuinely said enough. And beyond the title and all these things that I'm doing, I want to do something else. And I made a switch. I found out there was a role open in recruiting. It was definitely a demotion. No, I wasn't pushed out. No, it had nothing to do with performance, but I knew that this is something that I wanted to do. Call me crazy, a lot of people did, but I started my career over in recruiting and haven't looked back. And I will say one thing with that role then opened so many doors to where I am now. I probably would not have gotten into this role at Deloitte if I hadn't been on that path, if I hadn't been open. Again, kind of back to that internship, if I had said no to that email, which I was going to do, I don't know that my path would have led me to where I am. So within that, I've taken bumps and dips and turns and twists, and I've switched companies, gotten married, family has changed, I've moved, those things have happened. But I think the principles that I've learned here, me being open, me working hard, those things have brought me through to where I am today. And I'm still not at the top yet. I don't consider that I'm at that peak or at that point, but I've definitely recouped and then some of the things that I thought I was walking away from by walking away from that last role. So that's my story. I could probably ramble on longer than this, but I really want you guys to know that, and again, I don't think I got to say this, but I was kind of that middle of the road student too, guys. I wasn't top of the class, definitely wasn't bottom of the class. I had some friends who were definitely giving me some competition, but I worked hard. And I think that's one thing that anybody who encountered me at that phase in life knew, that I was at least trying. And I continue to do that through every job that I've been in, and my reputation is probably the most important thing to me. So if you don't take anything from what I'm saying today, just take advantage of the people you have here who believe in you, who want to see you do well, who are giving you solid advice for your career. And when they see things in you that you may not see in yourself, take that chance on yourself, because you don't know where that's going to take you. And even in your career, if you feel led or driven to do something different, then go against the status quo. I should be chain sales senior manager somewhere now, but that wasn't the life for me, and I've now come to a position where I'm happy. The other thing is to make sure that whatever you're doing in life and wherever you are, that you're giving back. So, in giving back to your school, whether it's in, it might not be in money. I still haven't been able to write the check, the size of the check that I want to write yet to the Division of Business, but we're getting there. But then it's your time. Bringing someone with you, if everyone in this room brought 2 people with them wherever they go, I'm in a position now where I'm able to bring or introduce Xavierites at least to my organization and to help get them in the door. So get to that point, no matter what you do, get to a point to where you're able to give back, whether it's time, hopefully money one day. I'm sure Dr. Ricks would appreciate that. But time and commitment. So that's it. I just wanted to keep it short and sweet, but to share that story with you. But thank you so much for having me tonight.
Giselle, would you please come back up to the stage for a quick, brief moment, please? As a token of our appreciation, we'd like to present this to you for being our speaker today.